Okay, say you have a gentleman driving. His name will be Jerry, because I like Jerry. Let's say Jerry is driving late at night and comes to a stoplight. The light is red, he looks around and can clearly, definitively see that he is the only person on the road. Jerry drives forward despite the red light. Then, out of nowhere, flashing lights. Sergeant somebody throws on his sirens, pulls Jerry over, and writes him a ticket. Fair is fair, right? Jerry broke the law, he got caught, and pays the price. That's justice, isn't it? But hold on, this knee-jerk reaction that rules are rules response actually points to a huge issue that humanity has. An issue with nuance, or rather the lack of it, and let me explain. First, let's define law. What is the law? The definition of law is the system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members, enforceable by penalties. Alright, sure, that sounds official, but what is that really? Can I pick it up? Can I hide it in a drawer? Can I throw it away? Sure, you can destroy the paper a law is written on, but does that mean the law no longer applies? Obviously not. So, what are we dealing with? The answer is that the law is a conceptual framework, and by definition, a conceptual framework is a tool. It helps organize ideas, make distinctions, and solve problems. That's what everyone agrees it's supposed to do, so what's my point? If the law is a concept, not just physical, then it's a group projection. It has power because we collectively give it power. And that means that it is not absolute, even though we may treat it such as. It is not a force of nature. Gravity doesn't care what we believe, but laws do. So, we have to ask the question, what is the purpose of the law? To serve society, or does society serve the law? Is the law made for man, or was man made for the law? A famous guy named Jesus challenged this idea once upon a time, and spoiler, people didn't take it well. But let's return to Jerry. Some argue he broke the law, so he deserves a ticket. I ask, why? Because he broke a rule? But why does that rule exist in the first place? We have stoplights and laws against breaking them because usually ignoring them leads to accidents. We agree, obey the light, reduce harm. That's the intent. But Jerry's case, he's alone. The entire reason for the law, public safety, doesn't apply. There is no danger. Just Jerry, a red light, and an empty street. When you punish Jerry anyway, you are not enforcing the spirit of the law. You are worshiping the letter of it. You are saying that man serves the law, and not the other way around. When the law becomes detached from its own purpose and operates on autopilot, that is not justice, it is programming. And that is a problem. People may say, well, should we make running red lights legal? Is that what you're saying? Absolutely not. That is not what I am saying. I am saying that when we use the law as the tool that it is, we should use critical thinking alongside it. Consider why the rule was made and if that reason was breached. That is nuance. Nuance, by definition, is a subtle difference in meaning or expression. It is the opposite of black and white thinking. It's holding two thoughts at once and weighing them against each other. Another rebuttal is, if Jerry gets off, then Beth must too. So, let's talk about Beth. Beth drove the same road, same time, same empty street, and ran the same red light. But, unlike Jerry, Beth was speeding, distracted, didn't even see the light, and we're lucky that no one got hurt. But that's the difference. Beth's action violated the intent of the law. It was unsafe, inattentive, and dangerous. Jerry and Beth did the same thing on paper, but their intentions were completely different. In a conceptual framework like the law, where everything exists in our minds, intention must matter. That's what makes the whole thing work in the first place. When people say the law is the law, what they're really saying is, we've turned off our brains. Because under critical thought, intention and harm matter more than strict parameters. If no harm was done, and the reason for the law wasn't compromised, punishing someone just because the rules say so is absurd when you think about it in a vacuum. It is dystopian by definition. To punish without thinking, applying rules blindly, is putting man in service to a concept. That concept only exists because man imagined it. It's an inversion of purpose. It is how liberty dies, not with thunderous applause, but with quiet paperwork and people saying, well, that's just the law. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Those who give up essential liberty to purchase temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Let's explore this idea further. Within the United States, many states, 3D printing firearm components is illegal. That sounds reasonable on the surface. We don't want unstable people printing weapons. That's a fair concern. But let's zoom out. If you've been online or looked into 3D printing, you know that those files are everywhere. Access is not the issue. Someone intending harm, already willing to break the law, won't be stopped by another law. Think about it. If someone is willing to commit murder, will they stop because 3D printing a weapon is illegal? So, who does this law affect? People who care about following the law. People not planning harm. People wanting to tinker or exercise their right to build something. The law restricts the responsible. This does nothing to stop the irresponsible. You sacrificed freedom, you gained no real safety, and you added a rule that doesn't stop threats. It is just simply bad policy. Laws made in anticipation of crimes, pre-crime laws, often do more harm than good. If you want to 3D print a firearm because I want to, that is reason enough. That is, by definition, freedom. Yes, sometimes people abuse freedom. That is the price, the cost of a free society. You do not get to choose absolute safety and absolute liberty. That world does not exist. Anyone promising that is selling a padded to sell, calling it home. Without nuance, there's no intentionality, just yes and no, binary gates, a mechanical society for the lowest common denominator. Most preventative laws only stop those who never intended harm. Let's look at morality. Many believe morality is absolute, good versus evil, no gray areas, but morality, like the law, is also a conceptual framework. What is moral in one culture may be taboo in another. Absolutism in morality leads us to judge actions harshly without context. If a person steals bread to feed a starving child, is that theft immoral? Strictly speaking, yes. But morally speaking, probably not. If we abandon moral nuance, we become judgmental robots, failing to understand human complexity. We demonize good people forced into bad choices, rewarding rule followers even if their obedience causes harm. Absolute morality is simplistic. It feels safe, but is deeply unjust. Morality, like law, requires nuance. Without it, morality isn't noble, it's naive. And today in society, naive morality is being praised above almost anything else, and it is a problem that we need to confront, or we will be in for a rude awakening. This whole argument isn't about just laws or morality, it's about realizing the importance of nuance, and realizing that it's not just a theoretical exercise. It is essential for living responsibly in a complex world. Recognizing the absurdity of absolutism enables us to engage critically with the rules and norms that shape our daily lives. It helps us understand that rules are made to serve people and not the other way around. Implementing nuance starts with individual responsibility. It means being willing to question your own assumptions and biases and asking, why is this rule in place? Does it serve its intended purpose? By practicing thoughtful reflection, we become less reactive and more intentional in our actions. Moreover, embracing nuance encourages empathy. When we acknowledge that situations are rarely black and white, we become more understanding and compassionate towards others. We judge less harshly and are better able to recognize the complexity of human behavior. Ultimately, integrating nuance into our lives fosters a healthier society. It preserves freedom, respects individuality, and guards against the creeping dystopia of blind obedience. Remember, a nuanced perspective doesn't make us weaker, it makes us wiser, kinder, and genuinely freer. At the end of the day, society is a conceptual framework that we all participate in. It is in essence a game that we all play. And while one person saying, I don't want to play doesn't do anything to the game, enough people thinking differently does change the rules of the game. We are active participants, and while individually your participation may not amount to much in the grand scheme, when everyone agrees and pushes forward and unites, that is how change happens, and we are conditioned to think that it is not possible. However, it is possible by simply slowing down and thinking about things with a nuanced perspective and understanding the subtleties of change and life and the intricacies of different situations. With that being said, I highly encourage everybody to take a moment in their life and slow down, pause and reflect, and just do the best they can and commit to being the best person that they can be in the moment. And if we all do that, then even if life's just a tiny bit better, that's good enough for me. So, obviously, I can't say everything that I want to say in a video because that would be impossible, and I'm going off script a bit right now, but if you're new to my channel, I would encourage you to subscribe and hit the like button and comment. I really would look forward to engaging with you guys. If you engage with me, I'll probably reply to you. It helps me out a lot. I'm trying to get started, and I know I'm not perfect at this yet, but I am doing my best to get better, and I will continue to endeavor to be better. And at the end of the day, my message is why I'm here, is why I'm doing this. And even though it might not be as polished as it can be, it's as polished as I'm able to make it. And I hope that the message shines through in spite of that. And if you've gotten this far into the video, I thank you so much for listening. You are a wonderful person, and have a great, phenomenal day.